A prayer is always from the individual. It is never from the self, Atma. But the individual, Jiva, which is but Atma, it is the individual that prays. To whom does the individual pray? The individual doesn't pray to another individual. The other individual also has the limitations as I have as an individual. I pray only to one who is not another individual. Another individual with limited knowledge, limited powers. But to another who is not an individual, because his powers and knowledge are free from any limitation. Let there be no confusion that the individual is praying to whom? To the self? No. The individual is the self. The self is not an individual, but individual is the self. And therefore the prayer is not towards the self, but towards the self as Ishvara. The self that is now an individual is praying to the self that is Ishvara, the total, the Lord. Let there be no confusion about this. The prayer is always to the Lord. Even the enlightened person who knows the meaning of the sentence that thou art Tattvamasi, even that person can offer a prayer as an individual. Because the difference between Ishvara and Jiva, the individual, is apparent, is evident, even though there is non-difference. Non-difference is a matter of knowing, recognizing the difference, which is of course apparent, which is mithya. But now, as an individual, when I see myself helpless, I can't but pray. So prayer is not against the teaching. In fact, any form of ritual which is also a kind of prayer is not against the teaching. I pray because I seek help. The prayer is always, therefore, not to the laws, but to the laws as the Lord. It is always to the Nimitta Karana, the maker, the efficient cause. Prayer is always to the efficient cause. If a prayer goes to a deity, again it is the efficient cause with reference to a given phenomenon. I seek help in order to accept my past. Past is not a villain, nor it has to be looked upon with contempt. It is the past that makes me what I am. Every experience in my life was an enriching experience. The problem is not that I have a past, but I see myself a victim to the past due to my not accepting the past. Let this be clear. I don't hate my past. In the hatred is the denial of the past, is a rejection of the past. Neither I can deny my past, much less I can reject. The past has already happened. It is siddha. It is already established. It is a fact. I can't do anything to alter the fact. The problem is when I reject the past, when I resent anything about the past, I don't accept the past. When I criticize myself, I criticize the past. Which is not accepting the past. The more I'm able to see how the past cannot change, the more I become free from my resentments. Anger, remorse, and so on. We spend our energy, time, resenting the past. I seek here help because it is one thing to understand, it's quite another to be free from resentment, from anger. Prayer does something because there is submission. The prayer itself is a karma, is an action whose result you call as grace. You create the grace. You don't wait for grace to come to you. It doesn't come. By prayer, you invoke the grace. Besides the result of prayer, that I pray itself produces a result. Because there is acknowledgement and submission. I acknowledge the helplessness. I understand how I cannot change my past. Then why am I angry? Why I hate myself? Why I criticize myself? Well, I am helpless. In that acknowledgement of helplessness and in the capacity to pray for help is my purushartha, my effort. My will is used. My will is used prudently in submitting it. In the submission, the will is submitted. And to submit the will, I use my will. One has to see the beauty of prayer. there is no meditation, no ritual without prayer. There is no technique which can replace prayer. Because in every other form of these techniques, the will is retained. Here, the will willingly submits. That submission does the miracle. In the submission itself is an acceptance. Understand? In the submission there is acceptance of the past. I don't change the self-criticizing mind. I don't change that. I don't want a mind which won't criticize me. I don't care whether it criticizes me or any. I don't care. All that I want is to accept that mind, the self-criticizing mind. Let me accept. When I say I accept my past, necessarily I accept the outcome of the past. The outcome is self-criticism. I accept the mind as it is. I'm not afraid of this self-judging mind, self-condemning mind. All that I seek is to totally accept this self-criticizing mind. Please understand. O Lord, help me accept the mind, the self-judging, self-criticizing, self-condemning, self-pitying mind, or me. Please help me. I submit my will, because I have used my will to change. It didn't work. It would never work. And therefore, I give up. I give up not helplessly. I give up prudently. Myself, my will, and deliver it in your hands. I have no reason for despair. All that I seek is this acceptance, of the past with its outcome. I'm not avoiding self-criticism. I don't want your grace to stop self-criticism. No. I want your grace to accept self-criticism. Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Ram.